We've got a young lady here named Zoey Emberton, and she is going to open our proceedings up by singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Zoey Emberton, good job, good job. All right, sit down here. We've got pads there on the tables, and there are pens on the table. As we're going through the night here, if you've got a question you'd like to ask a candidate, write that question down on the pad, then just hold it up in the air, and somebody will come and get it to. After a couple of days, somebody will come by and get it. Yeah. So if you will, hold that up in the air, and somebody will pick it up, and they'll get it up to me, and we'll ask that candidate. We have got, first of all, anything else that I think I'm supposed to talk about? I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to roll through these. We have school board. I don't know if any of these folks are here. D.L. Webb, Corey Murray, or Ryan Stacks. Any of those three here? Okay, none of those three. See, this is going to go quicker than we thought then. Constable. Do we have any of the constables here tonight? If we do, stand up. As bad as you hate to, you have to stand up. Okay, if you will, we've got some questions for you guys. If you will, walk up on the stage here. Oh, yes. It's a single way. Go through there.
Come on, Greg.
It is, I guess you can get up that way. Have you lost? If we don't see you in a couple hours, we'll come looking for you. There you go. Look at that.
It's lonely back there.
Yeah, all right. So we got two JPs. Any more JPs here that are up? Okay, yeah, Mr. Lemings, come on up there. If you're a JP, go on up. Oh, constables. I'm sorry, constables. Constables. You JPs can be getting ready, I guess. All righty. That's, if you will, walk up to the microphone there. First one up. And it's a simple question. Why do you want to serve as a constable? And if you will, introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Calton Mitchell, and I currently reside in Fairfield Bay, Arkansas. And I have been a public servant for the last 35 years, 32 with the U.S. Army. As an Army Reservist, I'm retired. I retired as a Command Sergeant Major. And I worked for the U.S. Army as a civil servant, engineering technician, working on multiple military platforms. So my whole life has been primarily serving. And for the last 10 years, I've been a certified law enforcement officer. And for the past year, I've been a constable for Indian Rock Township. If everyone knows what a constable is, it's probably the best kept secret in Arkansas because it costs the taxpayers $0. Everything that a constable does is on his dime or her dime. So this past year, I have served my community both as an active duty law enforcement officer and as a constable. As a constable, I have assisted the Sheriff's Department in numerous call-ins. I've also served the Fairfield Bay Police Department as a supporting agency. And my primary goal is community service. I believe that a constable is the people's law enforcement. And you guys dictate what you want. I'm here to serve you. And as long as within the laws of the state of Arkansas and the state constitution, I will uphold it to the best of my abilities. So that's one reason that I am running again. I believe that our communities deserve proper law enforcement. I believe our communities deserve to be protected and served.
All right, serving Indian Rock, Calton, Mitchell. All right. Mr. Glenn Griggs up next. He's from the Craig Township.
Hello, folks. I'm Glenn Griggs, and I'm running for Craig Township Constable. I've been at JP before and got out of that, and I just kind of fell into this constable thing because they wanted somebody to fill the spot, so I agreed to take it, and that's about what it amounts to me.
There you go. Mr. Glenn Griggs, Craig Township. All right, guys, thanks for coming up. That's all you have to do. There's nobody else up here. If y'all know a song or something, you might can do that. You know? Okay, next up, I wanted to do these guys first, but they wouldn't let me. Justice of the Peace. Nikki Brown, Sarah Brown. Do we have any of these folks here tonight? Any JPs? Okay, if you will go up there and sit down. Nikki Brown, Sarah Brown, Mary Phillips, Virgil Lemings, Esther Bass. If any of those folks are here? All right. We're going to start with Nikki Brown, Sarah. Is Sarah here? Incognito, aren't you? And Virgil Lemings. I've got a question, same question for the three of you. Nikki, up first. Sarah. Nikki's not here. Nikki's not here. Okay, Sarah then. There you go, Sarah. What do you hope to accomplish as a Justice of the Peace?
I have to apologize, first of all. I didn't know I was going to be speaking or anything. I came from baseball practice. Accomplish as Justice of the Peace. I hope to continue to accomplish what we have accomplished. One of my main goals was to live within our means. This will be my third term as Justice of the Peace. And a budget was my biggest thing, and I ended up on the budget committee. So we have fulfilled that duty, and I want to continue to fulfill that duty because I think it's very important to live within your means, especially as a county. So want to continue to do that and serve my county.
All right. Great answer. Thank you. Let's see, Virgil Lemings. You same question, and you got. As I forgot to mention this. This is a 2-minute answer, so please keep it to 2 minutes. I knew you was going to go long on this one. So.
Man, I just walked up and he's picking on me. I'm JP for District 8, which is if you take from Highway 65 west from Searcy County line all the way across to Scotland and the Conway County line. That whole district on that side is my district, and so I am glad to serve that district. You asked me what I want to accomplish and my goals. My desire, and I mean, I love Emberton County. I want to see us grow. I want to see us do well, and so I'm just glad to be able to work with the guys and the gals on the quorum court to be able to see our county grow and things done well and done right. And I'm not one to shy away from speaking up when somebody calls me and I got an issue. I'm pretty bold at speaking up and saying what I think, and so sometimes they may not appreciate that too much on the quorum court, but I'm glad to be there, glad to serve, glad this is like Sarah. This is my third term. I'm unopposed this time. Thank goodness for that. I don't have to get out there and campaign too much, but I want to serve our county and I want to see our county do well, and to do whatever I can to help out and make it happen.
All right, Virgil Lemings. You did it right. Did it right.
Good.
Didn't hear any cowbells ringing. That's your cue there. Okay, let's see. We've got some more questions here. David Holcomb. Are you among us here? Are you present tonight? I guess not. Let's go then to Dell Holt. Hey, Dell.
Can y'all see me?
I've got a...
Is the microphone too tall?
I have got a 2-minute question here.
I can answer in 10 seconds.
Okay. What do you hope to accomplish if you are elected?
If I'm re-elected?
Re-elected.
Yeah. What do I hope to accomplish if I'm re-elected? Well, first of all, this is my 6th term as Justice of the Peace for District 1. And what I hope to accomplish is continue doing what I have been doing for the last 12 years. And that's doing what's right for the county. Like Sarah said, the budget's been one of the biggest deals. I'm also on that committee. I'm chairman of the Personnel Committee and chairman of several other committees, and I've been working on the handbook for our county for years, and continue to be doing it every year and updating and everything. And that's a big part of what needs to be going on for our counties, to make sure our county employees are represented in the right way, and that they have the things that they need and that they deserve. And so I continually work on that. But I do have an opponent. David Holcomb is my opponent, but I certainly hope to be reelected, and I will continue doing what I have been doing for the last 12 years. Thank you.
All right, let's go with Brian Tatum, JP7. How do you plan to inform yourself or keep yourself informed about policy and budget decisions?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Read that one more time.
Okay, how do you plan to inform yourself about policies and budget decisions?
Well, that is a good one. First of all, let me start off. Brian Tatum, JP District 7. This will be my 3rd term. I am the chairman of the Budget Committee. How am I going to stay informed? Well, that's a good question. I really, I don't know how to answer that one, to be real honest.
Okay, well, they have other questions for you.
Okay, I'm
they
sure
just
they do.
informed me that we're supposed to be asking more questions here.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course we
All right. How do you plan to pay county employees a competitive wage without raising taxes?
Well, you know, hold on.
Some short guy was up there.
Yeah. I resemble that. You know, that's always a good question. No, we're not about raising taxes at all. We're really not. You know, this year we were able to work with the sheriff's office and get the deputies up to a minimum $15 an hour, which is still not even competitive across the state. but we were glad to be able to do that. As far as how we're going to do that, you know, we worked through the budget. I've got to say that over the past few years, yes, we did have several years where we made some cuts. We cut the budget, we had to cut personnel, but I have to say that we are up on the upswing of things, even through the COVID. We've got good budget numbers, and I'm hoping that in the future we can keep the employees at a competitive wage without raising taxes. I mean, that's just not what we're wanting to do at all. It's not on the agenda, and of course, you will always get things thrown at you. You know, nobody expected the COVID to hit, but I got to say that with the taxes and everything, everything's on an upswing here in the county.
All right, one more question. What is your position on the county government's involvement in animal control and the animal shelter? It's a favorite with everybody.
What is my position? I don't believe, and I'm not the favorite on this, because I don't believe the county government needs to be in the animal control business. I think there's other agencies out there that will step up for that. You know, we're in a situation to where we were having to cut senior citizens benefits, and we were still having animal control. I would rather take care of my seniors. It's a bad subject, it really is, and there's really no good answer on that. But I'm not a big animal control advocate. I'm not. I'm not for sure what our situation is going to be on that. SNP's done an excellent job up to this point, you know, and they're having to pull it because the budget's just not there. We may have to reach out to the state and see if there's other things that we can do.
How do you solve this problem, the animal control problem?
Well, we don't know that. I wish we did. You know, we've looked to the cities to kind of help out with that. Some have stepped up, some haven't. But I think that even the cities now are having, you know, second looks at it. And I'm not for sure what the answer is to that at all. And we'd take suggestions, you know, but I don't have an answer to that. I don't know what that solution is going to be.
Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. That's Brian Tatum, JP7. Let's go with John Bradford now. John Bradford is JP6, and if you're elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
I'm going to continue to do what we've been doing. We're within our budgets now. 4 years ago, we were just very close to having to raise the millage in this county. We're at 3 mills, and we kept it there. Now we can, quote unquote, we've got the authority to raise that to 5 by our vote. And that never was an option. They just said that we kept it at 3. Which was a great thing. Mosey Brandon, when the gas come in here, he lowered that from 5. It used to be 5 in this county. And Mosey lowered that to 3, and we kept it there. But 4 years ago, we was very close with 911 expenses coming on and other things. And paying off the library, we've got that solved now with the library and 911 and other issues, financial issues, and we're doing good now for our budget.
Okay. How do you plan to inform yourself and keep yourself informed on policy and budgets?
Thanks for that question. Brian had that one. That's quite simple. We got the AAC, Association of Arkansas Counties in Little Rock, and they have concurrent training. They have conventions, workshops, and everything else to train the JP on how to do the budget and other county government. County government's a little different than the rest of the state. You got state. I mean, it's like we simply, it's cut and dried with us, you know. It's a balanced budget for the state too, but it's a balanced budget for us too. And we look for other places of revenue, just like the 1 cent sales tax. Now you people out there, y'all voted, y'all approved that 1 cent sales tax, that 1 penny for your fire departments. That's going to save you more money than that 1 penny is going to ever cost you, just on your insurance premiums. If you want to check me out, I challenge you to call your insurance agents and ask you how much. Going from ISO rating of 9 down to a 5, how much that saved you on fire insurance premiums. And that 1 cent sales tax is gonna help us, or it's gonna aid us, it makes us do it. We got 17 volunteer fire departments, we split that 1 cent sales tax up amongst the 17 fire departments. I'm talking too fast, ain't I? But volunteer fire departments is very important. That's a very great service we have. It's not mandated like 911. 911 is mandated. It's an unfunded mandate through state government that we provide 911 service.
All right, good deal. How do you plan to pay county employees a competitive wage without raising taxes?
Well, we give raises last year to the deputy, to the sheriff's department. They all got raises in the county road department. The people in the courthouse, they were left out. They didn't get raises. So we're gonna have to look at that in this next year, in this next budget, and find ways that we may have to cut services somewhere. We may have to cut jobs. That's one way we balance this budget so well in this county with the Judge James and everybody. We've had to cut unnecessary jobs out and narrow things down.
Okay. Final question, what is your position on the county government's involvement in animal control?
I've got one dog, Major. He's a border collie. He goes everywhere I go. But when I get enough of him, I'll take him to the vet, just like I done my old dog last year at Tatum down. It was my choice to get that dog, right, Brent? When the dog hunt, we hunt. You hunt, but I ain't gonna turn him loose. I never turned a dog loose in my life, and I'm not going to. When I stand for Judgment Day, that's one thing the Lord ain't gonna ask me about, because I figured that out. I'm not gonna do that one.
All right, good deal.
People take responsibility for their animals.
All right, well, thank you. John Bradford, JP6. Let's go with Becky Page now. Is Becky Page around? Not here. Bailee Roberson. And Bailey's running for JP6 also.
Hello, I'm Bailee Roberson and I'm brand new, so I can't speak on behalf of like the other JPs that are currently in office.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. What do you hope to accomplish if you are elected?
If I'm elected as JP, I plan to also help, balance the budget. I have an extensive background in finance, which I feel like will help me in balancing the budget, and I also want to be the voice for my hometown community. I currently work for the state of Arkansas, so I serve the people of Arkansas on a daily basis. And I just would really like to help my community, help the people, in the county in which I live in, and that's why I chose to run for this position.
How do you plan to keep yourself informed about the current issues?
Well, as John mentioned earlier, I can possibly attend one of the trainings that, that the state offers. Staying informed, with email, putting my information out there, phone numbers, always being available to contact, day or night. That's another option.
All right. How do you plan for the county to pay the employees a competitive wage without raising taxes?
Yeah, that's a good question I was thinking about earlier. So working for the state of Arkansas, I've worked in finance for a little over 4 years, and this is always a really good question. It's hard to pay people when you don't increase taxes. It's hard to, give raises and such. So you always have to look at balance, cutting, your cutting costs somewhere else. So whether that be looking at, as John mentioned earlier as well, cutting employee, whether you have to do employee payroll cuts, whether you have to cut costs on road funds, just cutting costs elsewhere.
All right. What's your position on the county government's involvement in animal control?
As someone else mentioned earlier, animal control has not always been something that I put as a main priority when you have senior citizens who, don't have food in their homes and don't have Medicare and Medicaid, and they're not getting the, what they need as far as medications. So I haven't put much thought into animal control. I really don't know how you would put a stop to, you know, all of the animals running loose, people turning them loose, other than, you know, people, if you can't take care of your own animal, have them put down.
All right. Thank you. That's Bailee Roberson.
Thank you.
JP6. Let's go with Mike Bradford. Mike is running for position JP5. What do you hope to accomplish if you're elected?
Well, I'm here because there's an opening in my district. A friend of mine who was a JP passed, Gary Lynn, and I thought it was time to serve the county in this position. I know they're doing a good job with the budget. That's one thing I want to continue. I've been a paramedic, an EMT for 30 years. I was a police officer for 11. So I've kind of got a unique insight into public service and what it takes to do that. So I'd like to see a lot of our public services be brought up to a competitive level. I know that they said that they increased the deputy's salary, and I know that was appreciated. There are a few other things that I'm sure could be increased as far as the budget goes with equipment and stuff like that. So that's what I came into this looking to do, is to maybe help out in that aspect and continue their good work.
Okay, you mentioned giving raises and stuff. How are you going to do that without raising taxes?
Well, if you have a fixed amount of money and you need to increase something somewhere, you've got two choices. You can either cut or you can bring in some more revenue. We don't want to do that with taxes, or increasing taxes. But if we can find some more businesses to come in, maybe to get some more sales tax coming into the county, or some to increase some of the taxes we already have and not try to burden the people with adding taxes. I think that would, I mean, that's really the only way you can do it.
By adding to the tax base?
Yes.
What is your position on county government's involvement in animal control?
Okay, I am one of the, I don't like big government, so a lot of times I don't like government getting into the people's business. But when you have a problem with like animal control, it can't be funded through the county. We could look at maybe getting an organization like ASPCA coming in to help out with that, with the housing of the animals. But as far as like people letting their animals run loose and being a problem, I don't know specifically if the county has any ordinances about animals running loose. If they don't, maybe we could look at doing something like that, that maybe the sheriff's department could enforce by, you know, saying, hey, if you don't keep your dogs put up and they keep killing your neighbor's chickens, you're going to get a ticket and you're going to get a fine. Something like that.
All right. Final question here. How do you plan to stay informed on policy and budget?
Well, I mean, we're in the digital age, so we have email, text. I know they have classes that the JPs can take to learn training on a lot of stuff like that, but I mean, I've always got my phone on me. I've got emails, texts coming in. I'm always available to the other JPs or the county judge or whoever, just to keep, I mean, I like to be informed on everything. That's, to me, that's the easiest way, just to be available.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
All right.
Mike thinks that's Mike Bradford, JP5. Kenneth Lemings.
Yeah, my name's Kenneth Lemings. I live in Choctaw. I'm running for District 5 this time around. I'm JP.
All right. Kenneth, tell me, what do you hope to accomplish if you are elected?
I'd like to maintain the budget best we can. That is a very important thing when I was JP back in 2012, is budget. And I just think, can you hear me? I can look closer. But back in 2012, our budget was one of our main deals. We had a lot of money back then. And I know the money's getting settled back down, not the oil and gas is left, but we still got to try to budget our money properly. And I think we can do that.
Well, how do you plan to stay informed about policy and budget decisions?
Like they were saying, emails, texts, I'm Green County Democrat. So, but just being in the community, talking to your people and stuff.
Okay. All right. What do you do, or how do you plan to pay county employees a competitive wage without raising taxes?
That's a tough one. So I think we should get more industry into the community. That would be a good, solid fundraiser, taxes on new industry, if we could. We've got things around here that we can, occupy. I don't know. That's a touchy subject. You don't want to run taxes up because that's hard on everybody. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I hope you're not doing tax.
So what is your position on county government's involvement in animal control?
That's another one of those things. You gotta be careful with it. We need somebody in there be at the pound kind of like on a regular basis. If it's not like 9 to 2 or something like that. I've had got a lot of animals and stuff, and we've gone down there, to look for animals even. And you don't really have a set time that you go in there, but you just set it up to where we're gonna be there from 9 to 2. People's liable to come by and get the dogs that are there and the cats that are there. They got better, we got a regulated time for that.
Okay. Good deal. Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming up. That's Kenneth Lemings, JG5. Virgil, did you get up while ago, Tom?
No, I was waving some.
No, but did you? You want to say anything? Can if you want to.
I'm good.
That's what he wants to say. He's good, All right. Well, I think that's it for the JPs. Appreciate you guys coming up. Okay, we have some uncontested county offices and officials here. County Clerk Pam Bradford. I saw Pam here. See if you'll come up. Yes, you have to go up here and sing. We got a song. Also, Laura Shannon. Is Laura here? Not here. Missy Wilson. Yeah, I see Misty there. All right, Misty, you want to? I think it's easier to get up that way. I don't know. Emma Smiley. Joe Sosi. I saw Joe come in a while ago. Joe, you lucky dog. And Debbie Gray. Is Debbie here? There she is. All right. I think you can get her. Yeah. Thank you. This is going to be an easy answer, or easy question. I hope an easy answer. We'll start with you, Pam. Because you wanted to. You wanted to. County Clerk Pam Bradford, running as a Republican. We have a question that 2-minute answer. You got to go at least 2 to count off. You get graded on this one.
I failed already.
What do you hope to accomplish while serving in office?
Well, we like to work with balanced budgets. We watch the budgets every day and work with quorum court and make sure everything's run legally and smooth.
hopefully.
All right, that's all you have to do is just that one question there. All right, and that was County Clerk Pam Bradford. Up next is Misty Wilson. Misty, same question, 2 minute, all you have to have here. What do you hope to accomplish while in office?
Pretty much the same as Pam. We work real close on the budget. Just making sure the departments keep in that budget and that we don't overspend more money than, what's coming in. So, just serving the people of our county the best that we can.
All right, thank you, Misty. I want to remind you, once again, you still have the pads in front of you if you'd like to write down the questions and just hold it up. We've got folks just waiting for some of those questions to come in. Emma Smiley up next, your county assessor.
Yes, I'm Emma Smiley. I'm serving my first term and I'm unopposed for my second.
All right. What do you hope to accomplish while you're serving in office?
I want to have everything fair and equitable for everyone in the county. I want to be accessible. If you need me, I'm there every day. Catch me at Walmart or wherever. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to serve the community.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Emma Smiley, your county assessor. Also up next is County Coroner Joe Sosi. Joe? Joe, you got to keep it under 10 minutes, okay?
Well, I'm going to sing you a song first.
The same question, what do you hope to accomplish while you're serving in office?
That'd be pretty easy. Digitalize our files. I'm trying to get equipment that we need. Also been approved this year to get a new vehicle for the coroner's office that the county has never had in existence for the coroner's office. So that's what I'm planning on doing.
All right. You got time to burn here now.
That's all right.
All right, County Clerk Debbie Gray up next.
Circuit Clerk.
Circuit Clerk, yeah, Circuit Clerk. What do you hope to accomplish while in office?
Well, since we've all been talking about budgets tonight, first and foremost, I want to continue to work with all these great individuals and we do really well on our budgets. I believe each one of us, or I try to, believe I do, save money on our budget each year. Continue cutting things we don't need. We are slowly improving the courthouse, bringing it kind of up to date. I want to continue doing that. Continue working with our judges, improving things in the courtroom for them and making them happy. That's one of our biggest jobs. Basically, we're glorified pencil pushers, so I just want to push the pencil a little bit, better. And just continue serving the county and the people in it. This will be my third term. And I've just enjoyed every minute of it. I'm glad I'm going to get to continue it. And just try to continue to do a good job.
All right, thank you. Circuit Clerk Debbie Gray. All right, and Joe.
Ladies and Joe, do your best.
Up next, County Judge. We've got Dale James and John Cobra. Maybe Cobera. All right, Dale.
Am I it?
You're it. All right. Here's a question for you. How do you plan to prioritize the maintenance and improvement of the county roads?
To prioritize? Well, that's a really good question. I appreciate that question. Thank you. First of all, we were the recipient of a lot of good things. When we were in the gas bubble, we received a lot of the benefit from that. Our roads were improved in large part by the gas companies. Now we're left in a position where our infrastructure is dilapidating faster than we can keep adding to or building on. and we have to operate within our budget. We have to be fiscally sound, and we've done a very good job of that. So the way we're prioritizing now is by maintaining the paved structures and the chip seal structures that we have instead of adding on new. Why build new great roads when we have other roads that are completely falling apart and are just crumbling with in terrible shape? So we're having to go back, we're having to fix roads back up to a really good shape that are starting to dilapidate, and spend our money fairly there, while at the same time making sure that we have a good overall system of roads, taking dirt roads to great gravel roads. And in a lot of cases, and using the data that we're gathering now off of our equipment and off of our trucks, we get unbiased, unfiltered, censored data, and it'll tell us exactly how good the roads are without us knowing, or without our opinion. So we have a lot of gravel roads that are now smoother than chip seal roads. We have some gravel roads that censor as smooth as a paved road.
Good deal. Let's see. What is your position on leasing road equipment versus owning it?
This one was one that was debated heavily last cycle, and we no longer lease. We are building equity in our fleet, and I thought that would have to be done at a very slow and measured pace. And come to find out, we got to jump on that very quickly. And now we own all of our equipment. Actually, a lot of it may be owned by First Service Bank or by another financing company, by John Deere. But we're in the process of paying that off. When we went from owning absolutely nothing to now owning absolutely everything, we had to incur a little bit of debt to get that done. We're in the process of getting that debt paid off, and hopefully by the end of this next term, I would like to see us pretty close to being debt-free.
All right, good deal. The question that the JPs had to answer, what is your position on the county's involvement in animal control and animal shelter?
Thank you for that question. You know, I was on the wrong side of this about 5 years ago, or however long that was, when I was a JP. I felt like if the county were to exit the animal control operation, then we should decrease taxes, or if we're going to lose a service, then we should lose some kind of a monetary payment from the taxpayers because of that. Well, that's behind us, and as county government, we have to know what our lane is. Every individual, every role, every government, whether it's a municipal government or a county government, we have our lane, and we have to stay in our lane. The lane of county government is not one for animal control. The county government, the legislative body, the quorum court, the JPs, they establish the legislation, the local legislation and the ordinances by which the sheriff's office can write tickets for that. But it's not the county's place to fund that. That is a municipal function. Same thing as a swimming pool. That's not a county function, that's a municipal function. Amenities and those things closest to the people that people can actually dive into and enjoy or receive that close of a benefit from, those are municipal functions, or those are functions of groups that have that passion. Like SNP did a fantastic job. SNP ran the animal shelter better than government could ever think about running it. You want to destroy something, get government involved in it. And I appreciate SNP for their involvement, and hopefully another organization with as good of a passion for animals will take over and do as good a job as they've done.
All right, that's it.
That's it.
That's it?
Man.
All right.
I do want to say one thing though.
Okay.
I don't really know who my opponent is, and I was really hoping that he'd be here tonight. And I'm glad he's running, because we have so much that we need to be proud of as a county. We've come so far. We are so much further ahead than we were fiscally. We're very sound. We made improvements in our infrastructure. We made improvements in our buildings. We're making improvements in our grounds. And it's a great time to be able to champion those improvements. But I want a debate. I want John Cobera to debate me. And I want to be able to stand on a record that I am extremely proud of. Thank you.
All right, Bill James, your county judge. All right, let's see. Can we get Sheriff? Is anybody running for sheriff this year? Oh, yeah, okay. Lucas Emberton, Eric Koonce, Kenny Lee, Michael Shamu, Mark West, and John Willoughby. Will you all come up here on the stage? There's nobody left out there. I think we're going to start off with the donut eating contest first.
I'd win that. I'm full.
Okay, Lucas, since you're the incumbent here, let's start with you, all right?
Perfect.
How will you measure the success of your department?
How would I measure the success of my department? Over 200%. There's several different things that we can go over, but I will go back to what I campaigned and what I promised to you 4 years ago. I promised to you that I could stay within the budget constraints. I have done that, began in 2019 with a budget cut of $286,000. Never had to come back and ask for money. Never had to come back and ask for any kind of assistance. We scaled down our budgets where we could operate within it. During that period of time, we also had vehicles and debt that we had to pay that I accrued when I come into office. So at that point in time, we started working on those, and we got those paid completely off. Your sheriff's office is debt-free at this time. In 3 years, we become debt-free. As the auditors, state auditors come in, they check our audit every year. The third year that I'm in office, we finally get an audit after a state legislative audit after 20 years that is flawless, okay? So that is a very big accomplishment to me, and I can measure a lot of things. We can stay here all night and I can go through a lot of things. A couple last points, Mr. Sid, and we will move on. But another point is I promised that our employees would be trained. In the last 3 years, we have over 6,000 hours of employee training in my department so that I can provide a deputy or a service to you to protect and serve you that is professional and they know what they're doing. The last thing here, we'll move on, is previous 3 years before I came into office versus the 3 years that I've been here in the narcotics, because I told you I'd be aggressive. I told you I'd be aggressive, and I was, and the facts are in my office. 167% rate of arrest up from 3 years previous for me. Okay, so from 2019 to now, our arrest for narcotics is up 167% at the present. As we move on, it's going to keep climbing. But you guys have to have that in order for us to be able to protect you and protect your property and protect the things that you work hard for.
Okay, I've got a 1 minute answer here for you. What is your position on the department's radio frequencies being open versus encrypted?
Perfect. I am so appreciative that somebody brought this question out in the public. I've been scrutinized for that for the last 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, and I apologize if it is an inconvenience to any of our citizens that like to listen, but I will explain myself in the reasoning of why I had to stop that and change that. At this time, I know that there are some frequencies out there that's still picking us up a little bit, but I had a situation the first 6 months I come into office where I was having deputies making traffic stops in trying to chase the narcotics that I promised you that we would stop or at least try to contain, and others were arriving on their traffic stops behind them that were buddies with the person they were stopping in front of them, which divides the attention of my deputy and or causes somebody to get hurt or get killed. I will not jeopardize my deputy's life or somebody's dad or somebody's brother. I will not jeopardize their life for citizens' entertainment. I apologize. I'll apologize for that now, but I will never sacrifice their life for entertainment. And that's where I stand on that.
All right. What is your position toward deploying body cameras on deputies?
I love the fact of body cameras. I wore a body camera when I was an officer at Greenbrier, and we are trying to work to get to that point. But what most people do not know about body cameras is it's not the price of the body camera that's the problem. The problem is the storage, where you have to store every second that that body camera is turned on for every officer or every deputy that is involved in anything with your department. You have to be able to store that. That way, if somebody requests an FOI, you have to release that information, Freedom of Information Act. You have to release that information, so I have to be capable of storing that. That is a lot more money than just the price of the body camera. So I haven't made it to that point yet. That was not top priority when I come into office. There were a lot of other things that needed to be taken care of way before that come into play, okay? Now that we have moved forward and we've put a new server in, we're trying to build the space in some of the old servers and see if we can use that. We're with our vendor trying to get that taken care of. If we can move to that point, then maybe in the future we can move to body cams, we can move to vehicle cams. You have to have the space to be able to store it before you can have it.
All right, let's go to this question. How do you plan to manage jail capacity so there's room for local detainees?
At this point in time, we have plenty of room for local detainees, and we have had the whole time that I've been in office. The first time that this administration or any other administration in the history of the sheriff's office went through a pandemic, which some of y'all might have heard about in 2020. So it's called COVID-19. Well, in order to be able to regulate your jail, as J.P. Bradford said earlier, we have Arkansas Association of Counties, which takes care of our legal side of things. They are our attorneys. They take care of us and they support us. So what they done was they went through and they put up a set of guidelines to go by in order to put people into your facility and be able to quarantine them. They set up the time limits. They set up when you have to quarantine, when you can let them out, when you can put them in population. With a jail that is 25 going on 26 years old, we do not have isolated places in there. If you've not come looked at my jail, you have an open invite at any time. But we don't have isolation places to quarantine people. Very limited. Very limited. And I think I talked about that before. If you put somebody in isolation that has to be there in 2020 when this started for 14 days, you can't move that person for 14 days out of isolation. You can't let him intermingle with anybody else in your jail, and you have to let him sit there for 14 days. In order to move him, it has to be the 14th day and moving him to the next place in the population. Okay? The only way that you can put somebody with him and this come later was if somebody else were to come in the same sex and they can come in within 24 hours and you can place them together. But you still got a small 8x8 box to put them in, okay? So we had to follow their guidelines. If we want defense for our sheriff's office, we have to follow the guidelines of our attorneys, okay? One last thing that you need to understand. If somebody comes to my jail and they come down with COVID or they come down with a sickness inside our jail and they go to the hospital or they go to the ER, or they go to Little Rock or Conway, and they get put on a vent, myself and all of you guys are responsible for the payment of those bills. So I have to quarantine that person by the guidelines, by my attorneys, so that I have a defense whenever that lawsuit comes down the pipe. So I have to follow their guidelines. Now, fast forward just a second, our guidelines now are 5 days. After 5 days now, we can do a rapid test, and if their rapid test comes back negative, we can place them into population. We're not completely out of quarantine yet. We're still having to do 5-day quarantines. With 6 people, 6 holding places where you can quarantine, if they come in within 24 hours, you still got to hold them for 5 days. So therefore, you can only shuffle in and out so many people at a time. So if you get 5 people this week, you have to be really picky on who you're going to hold. And so you gotta, it's a really, really sophisticated puzzle there to try to work with your quarantine time.
All right, thank you. That's it, Lucas. Thank you. Lucas Emberton, you're, okay. All right, let's next go with John Willoughby. John, how you doing?
Doing all right, so far.
All right, let's, how will you measure the success of your department?
If I were sheriff? If I were sheriff. Well, foremost, what I would do, how I would measure my, you said my success, is I'd have my officers, they're trained. We have enough certified police instructors between the sheriff's office, Clinton Police Department, and Fairfield Bay. If we all work together, we could all train together. We would have utilize the officers that are in the different departments there for better response times out in the county. If we had something going on in Seals Peninsula or something like that, and we had a deputy out here in Scotland, then we could have that officer, if he was deputized and everything. That's what I would want to do, is deputize the officers that we have in our county, all of our officers. And they would have a quicker response time. You could get somebody from Fairfield Bay to respond to Seals Peninsula and take care of that matter over there. I guess how I would, oh shoot, I got all ahead of myself. I'm sorry.
How would you measure if you think your office is being successful? What would you like to see accomplished?
I would like to see our officers better trained than what they are. I would also like to see our jail in a better place than it ever was. When I started out as a jailer up there in '97, I mean, we didn't go through a pandemic like Lucas has went through. I mean, I have to say Lucas has done a good job on the dealing with the pandemic. I mean, you would have to do the same thing. You would have to stay within the guidelines and everything. But I would, shoot.
It's kind of a broad question.
It's a broad thing, because you don't, like if I was in that position, I would be better apt to tell you how we were doing. Right. You know, if I was in there and saying.
Let me ask you something else.
Okay.
Same question again. What is your position on the department's radio frequencies? Should it be open or should it be encrypted?
I think it should be open.
Why do you think that?
We went a lot of years with our police band being on the scanners. When we were on calls, I'll just tell you, when we were on calls and somebody didn't know where this one place was, somebody out in Scannerland would listen and say, hey, they'd call in and say, hey, you know, if that deputy would go down here and take this one road, this is where they live, okay? On my thing is, when I was a deputy working by myself at night, okay, I chased this guy up here at Allred, and we went down, he took me down an old logging road, okay? And I had this whole county by myself. I didn't have any backup anywhere else. And we got down this old logging road, and he stopped, he jumped out, and he come running at me. Before I could get out of my car, I mean, he was at my door. And I managed to get out of the car, and we fought. I was fighting with him. I was fighting for my life with him, okay? He was trying to grab my gun. I mean, we fought. I was fighting for my life. And I was hollering for backup every once in a while when I'd get my radio. And the nearest backup was coming from Sherman. And here I am in Already. I kept fighting with this guy, and all of a sudden I see this little red light coming through the woods. This truck come pulling up, and it was a firefighter. And he assisted me in apprehending this guy and getting him handcuffed and everything. That right there, that saved my life. Just for somebody listening out there in Skinnerland, and somebody come to help me. So I'm big on communication. You've got to have the communication. Okay, you got to be in communication with your fire department, your EMS, and I'm big on having that open. If you're going to do a bust, that's where you have a meeting the morning of, and get your game plan together, and keep off the radio. You got to keep off the radio.
Okay. All right. Another question here. What is your position toward utilizing inmates for roadside cleaning and similar projects in a community like that?
Now, when I was working there, that was a great thing for Van Buren County. Kurt Gaskin, he was the one that oversaw the inmates when he had them out cleaning. They were out cleaning the roads. He kept them in sight all the time. Didn't have a problem. And they also cleaned, like they did all the mowing for the county, for the businesses, for the fairgrounds and everything else. I don't know. I don't think they do that now. I'm not sure, but I don't think they do that now. But that was a big help, and I thought that saved the county a lot of money.
Okay. Quickly, I want to ask you this one. How do you plan to manage the jail's capacity?
Okay, the federal inmates that they've been holding. I mean, I believe they've held. What did we hold when we were there? We held. There was 20 or 25 whenever I worked for Scott, and I believe if they didn't hold as many federal inmates, that would leave room for a lot of the local, where you could put the local ones in jail. So that's kind of my take on that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. That's all I have for you. John Willoughby, thank you so much. Let's see. Let's go with.
Got a question?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I've got one right here.
Okay. We'll bring it to me then. I don't know where our runners are, but if you will. Who do you want me to ask this to? Just any or all of them? Okay. Kenny, let's go with Kenny Lee next. That's you. Just waiting for Kenny to get up there.
Right. I am Kenny Lee. Candidate here for sheriff. I'm here with my lovely wife again, Carol. And We want to be your next sheriff, so that's why we're here. We feel like that we need to change. So we're here tonight to answer questions.
All right, well, here's your question. How will you measure your success in the department?
Well, I think you measured your success as a sheriff by your deputies. And your deputies are measured by the citizens of the county. The citizens of the county are the ones that we're serving and protecting. Therefore, if they're happy with your deputies that are out there, the guidelines that you give your deputies, the structure that you give them, that structure will come back to you in the form of how the citizens of the county, how they feel about them, how they brag about them, what they have to say about them. And those deputies, that if you train them well, you get them out in the countryside, what we want to do with our deputy, and that success is, we're a rural county, we want our deputies to work with the people, the citizens of the county, okay?
All right. We talk about the current jail complex. Would you entertain a new jail? And if you do, how would we pay for that new jail?
Hey, that's left up to the former court, the JPs and the county judge on that. We'll work within the confines of what we're left to work with. Our present jail, we'll work with that. I know it's been brought up that there was no room for the county to bring the new prisoners in, or the county to work. The cities, Fairfield Bay, Clinton, we want to have our jail with a capacity that is able to work for the county and the cities of Van Buren County. Whatever that is, whatever the capacity needs to be, to have it open to where we can flow our people in and out without a problem.
All right. Well, what is your position on the radio frequencies? Open or have them encrypted?
Well, I've talked to a lot of people, and we certainly want it open. We want it open to where we can be in contact with our fire departments, our EMTs, when we're working together out there. We're a rural county here. We need to be able to work with our rural fire departments to communicate with each other. We can always go to another van whenever we're working on something really specific. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. What is your position on body cameras for deputies?
Again, we're a rural county. I know about everybody in this room. You pretty well know most of the people in the county. We're all friends, neighbors, we work together. I just don't feel like there is a need for body cameras in rural Van Buren County, okay?
Let's see, what's your position on utilizing inmates for roadside cleaning and other projects in the community?
That is a very good project. I was sheriff here 35 years ago. At that time, we didn't have many inmates, 3 or 4 or 5 down there, and they were usually local people that had to serve 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. They're back there. They're bored to death. And at that time, we had a lot of dirt roads, and on those dirt roads, those corners and stuff, they had grown up. We had a lot of accidents where people couldn't see around them. So at that time, I had 3 or 4 of the boys back there. I asked them, I said, guys, would you like to get out of jail rather than sitting back there and get out here and do something for the citizens of the county? They said, sure. We sent the guys out. I sent them out there with my own equipment, chainsaws, weed eaters and stuff. We cleaned the fence rows out on those blind corners to help solve wrecks. So we did that then. Now then, we come along and it's grown, and I love to see the guys out picking up trash on the sides of the road. They're helping the county. It's work for them. They get out of jail. They kind of learn a work ethic if they never had one before. So they get out. It's a winner for the county. It's a winner for the inmates that's in there.
All right, that's all the questions, Kenny.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Kenny Lee. Eric, you're up next. Eric Koonce.
we do, save the best for last.
You could say that, I guess.
Well, I'm Eric Koonce, and I'm running for sheriff. I'm going to run on my experience, honesty, and integrity. I've worked 23 years in law enforcement. I served 4 years in the military. I've served 6 years on the fire department. I have worked my whole life in public service. I did retire from the city police department so that I could move on to the job that I'm doing now, which is making a lot more money. But I put a lot of miles on a truck in 1 year, about 125,000 miles. So I would really enjoy to come back to this community, continue my passion, which is law enforcement and serving the public.
All right. How would you measure your success of the department?
The success of that sheriff's department should be measured, one, by your audit, which Lucas said he got a good one. That's great. I've worked at that sheriff's office for 4 years and we got good audits. Another one is your budget. You need to work within your budget. They talk about how you're going to keep your wages competitive and still keep enough employees. One of the things that I think would show that you were successful was to be able to get them more money and more equipment that they need without burdening the taxpayers. The one thing nobody brought up here, and the city did it for years, we had a grant writer. There are so many grants. We have this current president that has put so much money out. A lot of people think that he's overspending, which, I mean, our grandchildren's going to pay for it. But if people will take the time, these departments, city, municipalities, sheriff's office, police departments, if you'll get online and look, there are grants that we overlook daily. So I think getting money and getting it for this department that way is one way to alleviate that. And that's going to show a successful sheriff's department. Another thing that would show success is the general public. The people of Van Buren County, when they deal with these deputies, they want deputies that, yes, do the job, and a lot of them do. But what I keep hearing is a lot of them can do it and be disrespectful, talk down to people, stop them 6 or 7 times, search their vehicle, never find anything, and continue to do it. So a lot of people are telling me they don't like being harassed. They feel like the sheriff's office, some of the deputies are so focused on getting drugs that they're not treating people with the respect that they deserve. Every one of you have a mother, a daughter, a father. If they get stopped by my deputies, they're going to be treated with that respect. And if I can get those body cams, we will have the proof to show. If someone makes a complaint, we're going to review them. And if the deputies aren't doing their jobs, they're gone. But I think your deputies reflect your success.
So the question was positioned about deploying body cams. I'm going to take it that you are for those.
Absolutely. Worked for the city for 16 years, wore body cams. Had one officer one time, not naming names, said, "Man, I don't like those body cams." I said, "Why?" He said, "Man, they could get you in trouble." I said, "I've worn them 16 years and never been in trouble." They are a tool. They help an honest officer do his job in protecting and serving the people of Van Buren County. They're not as expensive as people think they are. You can get body cams, and with today's technology, let me ask you, years ago when you got a flash drive, it was tiny and it cost 20, 30, 40 bucks. Now you can get what, gigs? The same thing for the storage. You can get terabytes. You can get so much storage for so cheap now. It can be done. I know when our current sheriff came into office, my wife asked the chief deputy, "Are we going to get body cams?" And his response was, "I don't think we need them, and I don't think we have the money for it." I'm for them.
All right, let's talk about radio frequencies. You for open or encrypted?
I'm absolutely for open radio frequency, and I'll tell you why. That radio frequency is bought for and paid for by you, the taxpayer, you, the voter, you, the people of Van Buren County. It belongs to you. And I understand having an encrypted frequency, because during important raids, busts, you need to be able to keep some things quiet, but for the most part, it needs to be open. I will refer to the time I worked in the jail and we had some people escape. They couldn't find this person. And yes, somebody with a scanner heard that we were looking for an escapee, what kind of clothes he was wearing. We got a call over in, over behind the jail, you cross the river, that subdivision, and they said he just went through my backyard. They called the sheriff's office. That's an invaluable tool. These deputies, if they have the training and they're going to make their traffic stops, they are trained to handle people driving up on that traffic stop. They also can get on that radio and call for backup. And usually 9 times out of 10, we have other city officers or assisting agencies driving up on the county deputies' traffic stops, just as our constables, just as our city officers. We always watch out for each other. Even though at times we were told to stay away, we were those sneaky little officers that was kind of driving up, pulling around the corner and waiting, and if they needed help, we helped them. So these guys are going to protect each other, but I think the radios should be open because they do belong to the taxpayer.
All right. What's your position on utilizing inmates for roadside cleaning and community projects?
I think it's a good thing. You take one deputy, and like Kirk Gaston did do it for many, many years, I think that maybe some of the deputies, maybe we could rotate them out. You just don't want to be stuck in that position. I think he kind of liked it, and he did a great job. But with the inmates, you can't direct them to get out and clean. It is a volunteer program. For one, people that go to Fairgrounds County Jail, not all of them have been sentenced. They're not guilty. So there's a lot of them awaiting trial. So yeah, if they're bored and you ask them, hey, y'all want to get out and work, a lot of them will volunteer to do it. But it's going to help. It's going to help a lot of people in the community. They used to mow cemeteries, public places. They can't do it for individuals, but you can work on public property that's open to everybody.
Okay, let me ask one more question. Would you like to have a new jail? And if we do get a new jail, how do you propose we pay for it?
I've been asked this already, and I'm for a new jail. And in order to get a new jail without putting that cost on you, the taxpayer, the sheriff that negotiates this, that's in office, yes, the county quorum court's going to have to vote on this and everything, but my way of doing this would be to sit down with the federal marshals and try to negotiate a new contract for more federal inmates, but not for our new jail. We have the old jail. We hire some more people to run it, jailers. We fill the current old jail with federal inmates that will pay for a new jail to house our local people. There won't be no, this guy threatened me with a gun, taken to jail, and then released the next day. No, he will stay in jail. The family that was threatened will know that they're safe.
Good deal. One final question. What is your position on K-9 units in the department?
I am absolutely for canines. I was a canine officer at the city of Clinton for over 2 years. I had the dog named Missy. When I left the city and went to the county, John got her. She's a wonderful dog. He took real good care of her, and she passed away with, I believe it was canine cancer, a form. I got a lot of drugs with that canine. But my take on that is, without a canine, I got a lot of drugs. Deputies can get drugs with or without the canine. It's a great tool, but it's only a great tool if you use it. I have also witnessed canine officers that have canines, and I've watched them work. They're inexperienced, they don't know what they're doing. When a canine has a headshot or an alert, if the officer's not paying attention and he can't articulate why, it can get thrown out of court. So I think the continued training for these deputies is a must. They've got to stay on top of it.
Okay. Thank you. That was Eric Koonce. I believe that's all of them. I tell you what, Kenny, if you will, get back up there and answer the question about K-9 units also, because I didn't ask you that. So what's your position on K-9s?
I don't know.
That's a pretty short answer.
They're probably all right as long as the person that's handling them knows what they're doing, really experienced with it. The K-9 is a tool, and you need to, in other words, if you're working with tools, you need to be familiar with that tool, and you need to be able to handle that tool. So it's one of those iffy things. If you've got somebody that really likes it and they can really handle that dog well, again, it's a tool, maybe you can use it. But in the wrong hands and in the wrong position, I think it's a bad thing, just like I think we had an incident, our sheriff here now, with some of his people where they didn't handle that dog well. I believe the county's in a lawsuit right now where the dog got loose and attacked on a lady, and that lawsuit's coming up pretty soon. Bad situation. So while you can utilize a dog at the right time to help you, it can also hurt you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Lucas, if you will, please answer that question also. What is your position in the department?
Well, first of all, I remember very vividly a really hard rain at D Branch about 4 years ago when we had a debate down there. I promised you in 2018 in B Branch, Arkansas, that I would have 3 K-9s. And when I took office January 1st, I started to work on that, and by May the 25th, I had 3 K-9s and 3 trained officers. So my stance on K-9s is they are perfect for what we need to take care of in our county. Our guys will continue to work them, and we're going to continue to buy them, and they are totally funded by these K-9 officers. They are not costing the county taxpayer 1 red cent. They raise all that money, they put it in a donated line, and we take that out of that donated line and use it to buy their dog feed, their vet bills, and every other bill that they accrue throughout the year. So they are absolutely free to the taxpayer, but they are an absolute necessity for law enforcement these days. They do not only detect narcotics, we also track and we also apprehend with one of our K-9s.
All right, thank you, Lucas. John, if you don't care, answer that question also. What is your position on K-9s?
I'm all for K-9s. Like Eric said, I had Missy for 3 years after he left the police department down there. I've also, when I was police chief at Clinton, we had a drug dog there. He was a apprehension dog too, track dog, and Josh did a very good job with him. The dog is only as good as his handler. That's the whole thing about it. He's only as good as his handler. It's an ongoing training with the dog and the handler. It's kind of I'd say most of your time, if you're a handler, you're with that dog constantly. The dog's part of your family. You take it in and you train with it constantly. That's what I did. I trained with them constant. So I'm all for a K-9, and I think they're a good tool.
Okay. Thank you, John. Any other questions out there that anybody wants to ask? Well, I guess that's it. That's all the questions we have. That's all the candidates we have. So I think that's it for tonight. We appreciate everybody coming and taking part in this.
Thank you.